What happens when a celebrity's passion project suddenly turns into a legal battle that refuses to stay quiet? That's the question now surrounding Selena Gomez, after the ongoing Wondermind controversy took another dramatic turn. What started as a business venture built around mental wellness has now become a headline-making dispute, and Selena's latest response is putting the spotlight right back on the situation. Fans immediately began asking questions as new developments brought renewed attention to the lawsuit. Why has Selena decided to respond now? What exactly is being disputed? And could this latest move change how the entire story is viewed? But that's not the whole story. Behind the headlines is a much more complicated situation involving business relationships, serious allegations, and a company that was once presented as a positive space for mental wellness. The real story is far more interesting than the latest headline suggests, and some of the details have raised eyebrows among fans following Selena's career. Now, Selena is making her position clearer, and her response could become one of the most important moments in this entire controversy. So, what really happened behind the scenes, and why has the Wondermind lawsuit suddenly taken such a dramatic turn? Let's break down the latest developments and the details you need to know. Before Selena Gomez's latest response, the Wondermind situation had already become a complicated legal and business story. Wondermind was launched as a mental wellness-focused company, with Selena Gomez involved alongside entrepreneurs and co-founders who aimed to create a platform centered on conversations around emotional well-being. The idea attracted significant attention because it combined an important subject with the reach and influence of major entertainment personalities. But as the company's business troubles became public, the tone surrounding Wondermind changed dramatically. Instead of headlines focusing on its mission and future, attention shifted toward financial issues, business relationships, and legal claims. That shift created a much more complicated picture for fans who had originally followed Wondermind because of its mental health mission. And this is where Selena's name became impossible to separate from the controversy. Because of her public profile, anything involving Wondermind was naturally going to receive intense scrutiny. Fans began looking more closely at the company's history, its leadership, and the circumstances that eventually led to the legal dispute. Social media discussions quickly multiplied, with some people trying to understand what the lawsuit actually alleges, while others questioned how Selena's involvement fits into the larger situation. But there's an important distinction here. Allegations made in a lawsuit are not automatically proven facts. That makes the details of the legal filings and the responses from people involved especially important. As the dispute developed, Selena's position became a major part of the conversation. Her supporters wanted clarity, while others simply wanted to understand what had happened to a company that once appeared to have such a promising future. Then came the latest development. Selena Gomez pushed back against the claims surrounding the controversy, bringing renewed attention to her side of the story. And suddenly, what many people thought was simply another celebrity business dispute became something much bigger. Because the question now isn't only about what went wrong at Wondermind. It's about who is responsible, what the legal battle could mean, and whether Selena's response will finally change the narrative surrounding the entire controversy. As attention surrounding Wondermind continued to grow, Selena Gomez's position became one of the biggest points of interest in the entire dispute. For fans who watched the project develop from an ambitious wellness platform into a complicated business story, the latest developments raise an obvious question. Where exactly does Selena stand? That question became even more important as the legal allegations receive renewed attention. Lawsuits can quickly become complicated, especially when multiple business relationships and financial claims are involved. Public perception can also move much faster than the legal process itself. One headline can spread across social media within minutes, while the actual court proceedings may take months or even longer to resolve. That's why Selena's response matters. Rather than allowing the conversation to be shaped entirely by speculation online, her side of the story has pushed back against the way the controversy has been portrayed. The response has encouraged fans to look beyond social media posts and focus on the actual claims, responses, and legal documents involved. And that distinction is crucial. There is a huge difference between an allegation appearing in a lawsuit and a court ultimately determining that an allegation is true. As the dispute continues, those details will likely become increasingly important to understanding what really happened. Meanwhile, the reaction from fans has been intense. Some longtime Selena supporters have defended her, arguing that her celebrity status should not automatically make her responsible for every problem connected to a business she was associated with. Others are taking a more cautious approach, waiting to see how the legal process develops before forming an opinion. That division has made the story even more fascinating, because now, Wondermind isn't simply being discussed as a company facing controversy. It's become a test of how celebrity involvement, business partnerships, public perception, and legal disputes collide in the age of social media. And just when fans thought they had a clearer picture, another layer of the story began attracting attention. One involving the business decisions and relationships that helped shape Wondermind in the first place. The deeper the story goes, the clearer it becomes that the Wondermind controversy isn't simply about one lawsuit or one celebrity. At the center of the situation are bigger questions about business partnerships, responsibility, and what happens when a high-profile project begins facing serious challenges behind the scenes. For Selena Gomez, the situation is particularly complicated because her name carries enormous public attention. Anything connected to her business ventures can quickly become a major entertainment headline, even when the underlying dispute involves complicated legal or financial issues that aren't easy to explain in a few social media posts. That's exactly why this latest development has attracted so much attention. Fans aren't just asking what happened to Wondermind. They're asking how a project built around such a positive mission ended up surrounded by controversy in the first place. The contrast is striking. Wondermind was presented as a platform focused on conversations about mental wellness. Yet the public discussion surrounding the company has increasingly centered on business disagreements and legal claims. But that's where separating facts from online speculation becomes extremely important. A lawsuit can contain allegations from one side of dispute, while the opposing side may strongly reject those claims. Until a court makes a final determination, viewers shouldn't treat accusations as established facts. That makes Selena's response especially significant because it gives audiences another perspective to consider as the legal process continues. And there may be even more developments ahead. As the case moves forward, additional filings, statements, or responses could provide a clearer picture of what happened behind the scenes. For Selena, the challenge is not only dealing with the legal controversy itself, but also navigating the enormous public reaction that comes whenever her name becomes attached to a headline like this. For now, fans are watching closely. The Wondermind story has already gone from an ambitious celebrity-backed wellness project to a complicated legal dispute. And if the latest developments are any indication, this chapter may be far from over. The biggest question now is what happens next, and whether the next major update could completely change how the public sees the entire Wondermind controversy.